Okay, back where we were on engine detailing. After you've sprayed down the soap solution, the soap and the dirt and everything off the engine, you'll want to take a high pressure hose. Depending on the type of nozzle and stuff you have, it will depend on the pressure you got. Somewhere between 45 and 90 pounds is usually standard, depending on what kind of tip or whatever you're using on your air hose to spray it out. You want to spray out all the electrical connections real good. You want to spray off everything. After that, I'll use a water-based dressing. I don't want to use anything oil-based on the engine. So with a good water-based dressing, kind of spray it over the engine and actually wipe it all off. I don't want that stuff dripping down everywhere in places that it shouldn't, especially when you're on show cars with the chrome and this and that. Now, a lot of times you'll actually spray that on an applicator and wipe it on a hose at a time on engines like that, because you don't want to have to be coming back and getting dressing off of chrome and nickel plated stuff, all that kind of thing, parts that have been painted really well. So, but on your normal engine, you can kind of spray it onto the hoses and plastic, come back, wipe it down, and you'll be okay. Now, once you get that done, you want to close the hood. Usually I recommend waiting a couple hours if you do disconnect the battery cable before you reconnect it, just to make sure everything is dried out. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Last I checked, turning on a check engine light on a Bentley is probably not a good thing. All right, after that, we'll start an exterior wash. Usually we'll start that with a really good spray down of the vehicle, a really thorough spray down from top to bottom, all the way around the vehicle, to spray off all the loose dirt and loose contaminants possible. After that, if we see problem areas such as the lower bonnet with road grime or things like that, we'll go ahead and spray it with a citrus degreaser. It won't hurt the paint at all. It's while it does cut away dirt and grime, it's not actually unsafe for the paint. It is actually pretty safe. It's actually safe for the paint. We'll use that also in tire wheels. A lot of times we'll go ahead and spray the tires and wheels off with it as a pre-treatment. Perhaps areas where you have bugs or stuff like that, we'll go ahead and spray and pre-treat. Then we'll come along with the wash. We'll wash the vehicle completely down from top to bottom again, going over every area. We will get the bug sponges out for areas that may have a little bit of bug damage there. We'll also use the bug sponges for maybe stubborn places under your wheel wells and things like that. Of course, we don't use the same one on, the same one we're using on the wheel well. We're not going to use the same one on your paint. You don't want to do that. Of course, the other little things when you're washing, you want to use a fresh bucket of soap and water every time. You want to keep your mints and things that you clean with, you want to keep them perfectly clean. We're not terribly original. We just spray ours out with a high pressure hot water washer. Actually, they couldn't get cleaner if they put them through a washer and dryer. You don't want any contaminants and that sort of thing in your mints perhaps causing any more scratching to the paint. And you want to use a ton of soap. A ton of soap. You want that thing soaked and lathered down. Think of soap like a lubricant. Okay? Think of it like a lubricant that's going to carry the dirt and grime and nasty stuff on your paint safely away. And don't be afraid to use some water. You're washing a car. One of the best things for a car to clean it with is water. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just water, great stuff. Water and soap. Wonderful. Use a bunch of it. Use whatever it takes to get that car as clean as possible. Even if it takes it, wash the car twice if you're not absolutely sure. So we're good.